temporary setup. I'm in a bit of a, so I won't be able to see no comments because I'm on a screen about that big.
It's not your usual exotic background, is it?
Yeah, no, it's just a white wall.
Thanks for joining us, mate. And we've got Richard there, I think, who's struggling with his setup tonight. Richard, you all right?
I'm ready to go, I think, Paul. I think we're good. We're streaming to the new channel, so let's see if we can dive on.
You're rocking and rolling. How you doing, mate? You okay?
Go, mate. There we go.
Good stuff. Right? Over 1,000 people already polled into the room. They can't wait tonight, Richard. We said it was the Richard Inman striptease night, but I think we're going to disappoint.
Oh, my goodness. Listen,
are you ready?
Paul,
go on, mate.
The reviewers have just dropped down to 1.
Oh, yeah. Suddenly everyone drops off.
What's my mother doing watching that? That's not right.
Right, Richard, before we go any further, let's just, I know you've already done it, but let's just, before we get into the big topics of the night, let's just explain to the viewers exactly what happened on Friday, because now it's quite funny, but at the time, it seriously wasn't.
Do you know what, Paul? Friday, it feels like it was about 3 months ago, to be brutally honest with you, doesn't it? I mean, it's it doesn't feel like it was, whatever it is 2 days ago. I mean, there's a lot happened in those preceding. So we'd done a walk around with the police that morning up in London, and Big Wendell came out and filmed it. That was all great. Couple of bumps in the road, but we're not bothered going into them. But so that was all done and dusted. And then I met you at the airport about 3:30, I think it was, wasn't it, Paul? What time we went to fly at 6?
Yeah, about 3:30. We're supposed to fly at 6. Yeah,
we meant to fly at 6, and basically we got delayed. It's Gatwick. It was a foggy morning. We kind of knew that was going to happen. But eventually we got through. What was it, 8:30 or something? Was it by the time we got into the
8:30? Yeah,
the final bit. So we went through the actual bit where you're doing passport control, and you hadn't been great, Paul. To be honest with you, you were actually soldiering on when you probably shouldn't have been soldiering on, because you'd been wiped out for about a week, and then when you got there, you weren't your normal sort of chatty, boisterous self. It was and we got through the final bit where the passports are. So I checked passport checks. Literally, the next thing you do is get on the plane. Everyone was actually getting on the plane, and I looked at you, and you looked like a piece of grey Welsh slate. You went 50 shades of grey, and I said, Paul, are you feeling all right? And you were like, not really. And I just says, look, I'll be honest with you. I says, if you get on that plane, you could well be involved. And then I think we took the joint decision to get to we did a casualty evacuation. Yeah. Got him on a train. Will we tell him a story about what happened to me on the train?
Yeah, far away, mate. Yeah.
It's not 9 o'clock yet. We're not going to do that. I told my missus and her sister about that on Saturday night when I got home, and they were literally rolling about on the floor, flipping, laughing. It was just it was. So anyway, we got Paul on the train, and we got to Brighton. And luckily, one of my mates lives nearby. He picked us up and took Paul home, dropped him at his door, into the arms of his wife, who took him away dressed as a nurse, and that was it. That was the last thing we saw of him.
And
I honestly thought you had pneumonia. I seriously, because I've had pneumonia, and that was the same. Because even when we walked out of that airport, you were about 20 paces behind, and it wasn't because you were a woman in Purda. You were literally, not being able to keep up because you were not yourself, man. So yeah, it's good to have you back, Paul.
Thank you very much, and a public thank you for sticking by us on Friday. It was a difficult day, but.
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, I was really torn because I wanted to go out, because it was a really sort of historic thing that we were intending on doing. But at the same time, I think your health's got to be more important, Paul. You know what I mean? I think we've got to go. You've got to just be realistic and say, well, if you're not well, you're not well.
Yeah,
and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, thanks for seeing me home, mate. I really appreciate it. Well, even though it's not 9 o'clock, I think you should tell the story about what happened to you on the train, because everyone's going to want to know now.
Well, it had something to do with a salty dog. That's all I'm saying. So basically, do I have to say this in front of the whole audience? Do you know what I mean? I mean,
yeah, I think so. I think it's funny.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
I was half asleep, but it was still funny.
Well, listen, you weren't half asleep by the time it was all over. So anyway, we got on the train. Paul's slipping in and out of consciousness, so I'm just basically making sure he's in the recovery position. He's got clear airway, and I've got a little bottle of oxygen just by the side, just in case he starts going. You know what I mean? And we've got the crash kit, we've got the jump knees and everything. So Paul's doing a bit of first aid with Paul, and I've been traveling for quite a long time. I've been up from sort of 3 o'clock that morning, and as you travel, you become more like a sort of a West Country farmer, you know. Your dress code, you know. I'm not the snappiest dresser in the world. I'm not like Paul and Danny. I'm not the snappiest dresser in the world. But by sort of 8:30 at night on a train from Gatwick to Brighton, things are starting to, you know, slide, literally, right? So anyway, I'm sitting there. Paul's going to sleep. I'm going to sleep. So I kind of curled up, you know, as you do to go to sleep. Couldn't really get to sleep. And anyway, this couple with a dog. And I'm not going to. Anyway, this couple with it. What was it? It was like a baby XL bully, wasn't it? It was like some sort of bulldog.
A lot of cross between an XL bully and a bulldog, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like this little sort of XL bully bulldog thing, and it was really cute. And I'm patting on the head and stroking its jowls and all the rest of it. It's you know, wagging its little stubby tail, and everything's good. So anyway, I didn't think any more about it. So I just curled up on the seat, and as I curled up on the seat, what tends to happen is when you're wearing baggy jeans and you've been on the road for a long time, you kind of get that bit of cleavage just at the bottom of your back. And, you know, the builder's bum, except I'm not a builder. And anyway, I just settled down, snuggled down on the seat, just started snoring. And the next thing, I felt something very, very rough at my cleavage. And I thought, I'm being indecently assaulted. So I jumped up, and I was being indecently assaulted by a pug. The flipping dog was licking my arse.
Do you know the funniest bit of all? Is,
You've got it all on video.
5 minutes later,
no, the couple that had the dog, they do this. They go around filming people getting indecently assaulted by pugs.
Danny, 5 minutes later, the dog had hopped up onto the chair of its owner and was licking his owner's face.
Oh,
I've been on the road a long time, so it just must have been salty. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, dear.
No. Moving on.
Okay, good evening to you.
Any credibility
it all went out the window. Right, let's get into the main topic of the evening. Danny held the fort for us. Was on the plane. Well, I tell you what, Danny, you take us back to, you went out to we were supposed to meet you, and we obviously didn't turn up. But you was out there with Tommy over the weekend on the Saturday. When did you arrive? When did you fill us in, Danny? Tell us the full story.
Well, basically, I was sitting in Benidorm waiting for me two mates to come. I'd ordered 3 coffees, and I'm just sitting there on my own. And I got a message saying, "Look, we've blown it out, mate." No, it was basically, it was a lot easier for me, innit? Because I'm already out there.
Yeah.
So and I was coming back for the 26th anyway. I already had a flight booked, and obviously then we all arranged to come back with our friend, and that was it. We just all booked the flights, and obviously I'm out there anyway, so it's no trouble for me. I can just pop down the road and meet up with him, so it's not a problem.
What sort of mood was he in, Danny, when you got there?
Apprehensive. He knew that he was going to be arrested when he got to the airport. So yeah. I mean, that was the mood. It wasn't I wonder if or where, or it was how's he going to get lifted by how many police, and what are they going to say, and what they're going to charge him with. It was 100%, mate. I'm not a betting person, but I would have put serious money that he was definitely going to get lifted. Yeah, and that was the mood pretty much. He was still upbeat and making videos, sort of saying that this could be my last video for a while, etc. Because he didn't know whether they were going to nick him for 24 hours, 48 hours, or permanently. You just didn't know. And it was quite a stressful time, to be fair. And what was more stressful is I'm standing in the airport trying to meet up with him, and he'd obviously forgot his phone because that's just Tommy for you. And I'm trying to call him, and there was, obviously it's going straight onto, no answer phone. And so I'm trying to speak to Richard. I'm saying, I'm trying to get hold of him. Where is he, etc. Because I'd had a little scan around the airport and he wasn't there. And then it all comes sort of, we travel with the Voice of Wales as well. So they come and found me. And then obviously we found out where he was, and he was tucked away in a little Burger King right down the very end. Like it couldn't be further away from the gate if you tried. And so we all went up there, and we was right close to the time when we was going to get on the, start boarding the plane. Like they would already board him when I walked up there. And his burger looked fantastic, and I was starving. But there was a massive queue there, and our diet queue, we'd have missed a flight. So just had to watch him eating his burger, he didn't even offer me any. And that was it. Yeah. So that was where we left. We queued up and got on the plane. Obviously no issues in Spain. The issues we predicted were going to be the other end.
And let me just read this message out from Kevin, because Kevin's been on here before. Guys were calling. Yeah, his son is still on remand, for God's sake.
He's an ex-soldier, that guy, and we spoke to him. Yeah.
Absolutely outrageous.
Yeah, we spoke to him, and it was about a month ago, and it was when we did that first live thing.
And he's still on remand.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Have they not learned their lesson, this government?
Obviously.
So, Danny, what was the mood on the plane like? Was it apprehensive, I would imagine?
Pretty much. I think he relaxed on the plane a little bit and dozed off. So, he wasn't sitting directly next to me. He was in the middle of the plane. I was more towards the front. In fact, there was a few of us going, and scattered a little bit all over the place, to be fair. No one had sort of booked a cluster of seats together. So it was when we was on the plane. I spoke to him a couple of times, but he was half dozing on the plane.
Yeah. And then when you got back to the airport?
Because I was at the front of the plane, and we unloaded from the front. I was first off, and waited for the rest of the crew to come down. We've got a bit of video of it. I don't know if you've got that, Paul. I don't know if you can show.
Do you know what, Danny? I think it's been everywhere today.
Yeah, so, okay, yeah. But I mean, I sent it to you guys.
Just to give you the credit, all those videos were mostly from Danny. So
yeah.
Well done, Danny.
Everything I put out yesterday, I wasn't in two places at once. That was Danny that was beaming it across by the wonders of modern technology. It was like being in touch with Sky TV. We've got Danny from the tarmac in Luton Airport here.
Yeah, Pop didn't get paid.
Good footage as well, mate. That bit coming down the stairs, it was like watching a very young and fit Joe Biden coming down the stairs.
Without the trip.
Without the trip.
So that was it. Next step, I thought that he might have had the police come onto the plane and take him off. That didn't happen. Got off the plane. There was nobody on the ground floor by the stairs or anything. Had a good look round. Nothing. So when he come down, I said, "Well, it's not going to be here." And he said, "Like, there's going to be, passport control if there's going to be a problem." We queued up. We went into the automatic one, where you slide your passport and you stand there and stare at the little camera and it moves up and down. He got a blank. It said, no, you're not coming in with that. So then we regrouped, we walked round and queued up, and then went through the actual manned immigration passport control. And then that was it, really. We both sort of went up there at the same time. And there was 3 or 4 in his kiosk. There was 1 in my kiosk. I went pretty much straight through, waited there, and to his surprise, I mean, he was absolutely shocked that he went through passport control. Shocked. And so was we all. I mean, I like I say, I don't bet, but I would have put serious money that there was going to be a problem there. And then, I was letting you guys know, we're speaking to a couple of other, YouTube channels. And we just thought, well, possibly they might be waiting in the foyer when you come out, or outside the airport. There was nothing, mate. And I had a car. A good friend of, we all know the guy that I don't know whether he want his name mentioned, but we had a guy waiting in the car for us. Myself and Tommy jumped in. I went and dropped him off to a direction where he was going, and that was it.
Another gentleman of the movement who made himself available. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to mention his name because he might not want it mentioned, But he dropped Tommy off to the place where he was staying, which was about 45, 50 minutes away from the airport. And then he drove me home, which was amazing. And, that saved me a right long journey at quite late at night, because we had a little delay as well. So, yeah.
Just a quick one about Saturday. I've had a few people saying they want to come, but they're a little bit unsure about, safety and being on their own. A lady left me a message on the phone earlier on that's been sent to me. She was saying, look, don't be worried about coming alone. She came alone last time on her own, made friends. She's kept in contact with those people. Honestly, don't be concerned about coming on your own.
Look, we did just to put everyone's mind at rest. There is absolutely no chance of counter demonstrators getting anywhere near our protest, right? If they do, they'll be arrested by the police. It's simple as that. So there won't be any violence between people, that are countering our protests and our protests. That is not going to happen. Could people infiltrate the crowd? Very unlikely, because we've got, I think 70 odd stewards. We've got 50 of these security guys that are ex-police, ex-army, door staff they're all SAI badged. So you've got a proper security setup like you'd have at a concert. So the chances of anything happening actually at the event are minimal. And obviously, once the event's over, you make sure you get somewhere nice, away from central London if you want, so that you can just get out of town, and you find a nice restaurant and you make a weekend of it. Simple as that. It's not going to be a problem. I've done so many of these events, and I think this is probably, I don't want to tempt fate, but if everything goes to plan, it's going to be the safest. It's a very short march. We've done that deliberately because we want to make sure that we're not exposing ourselves, because of the tensions that there are at the minute. It's a very safe and controlled environment. It's right in the centre of London. There's probably no safer place to do a march than where we're doing the march. Victoria Station. I mean, everyone knows the route anyway. Victoria Station down to Parliament Square, a loop round Parliament Square into Whitehall, big stage and screen in Whitehall, and then we just crack on. And it's going to be great. There's going to be films, there's going to be entertainment, there's going to be speeches, there's going to be music. It's going to be fantastic.
Just a quick one as well. Yeah, absolutely. Just come along, come and say hello. Please make sure you do come and say hello. Just a quick one. Richard set up a new channel because we need to get Richard monetized. I can tell you that I'll tell them what happened at the weekend. I mean, Richard lost about 800 quid over the weekend, right?
Yeah.
And, at the end of the day, he's trying to get his new channel monetized, and it's called Counter Media. That is right, isn't it, Richard?
Yeah, it's in the private chat there, Paul. If you grab that link, you could drop it in the.
There you go.
Drop it in the.
Richard's new channel is called Counter Media. Please get over there and subscribe to Richard's new channel.
What I'll do, Paul, I'll grab the link and I'll drop it in the comments here. Let me grab the link.
I'll drop it in as well.
Yeah.
There you go. So please make sure that you get over to Richard's new channel and make sure that you subscribe. That'd really help him out. Let's just have a quick read of one or two of these. So I thank you very much. Evening, Paul, Danny and Richard. Really appreciate that. Eddie Lee. Sakir should be Sakus, Kier, as he is definitely a clown. Love you and Rich Van Dam's straight talking sense. Lovely. Thank you very much, Eddie.
Yeah, really, thanks for the encouragement, Eddie. I mean, the thing about Keir Starmer is he's not. Oh dear. He's not. Just get that off there, Paul.
I've got a little
Epic 2000.
Get it off.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Epic.
I'm trying to say something serious here. You know what I mean? You're a bad man. That's the last time you'll get in a casualty evacuation. Next time you're going to be left. I'm just going to leave you behind. I'm just going to
leave him on the platform.
Going. No, Keir Starmer's not a clown. He's a very bad man.
Yeah.
He's a very, very dark. Listen, We'll talk about that, what's happened later, but it's like what Keir Starmer is doing to people is evil. It's off the chart evil.
I actually think there could be criminal charges later on.
Against Starmer, I hope so.
In years to come, yeah.
Oh, I don't know, man. Don't hold your breath. Look at what, Tony Blair with everything.
Yeah, but this is a new level.
Different, yeah.
This is a new level. Yeah. And in fact, I tell you what, someone sent me a message earlier on. Let me just get this message up that someone sent me earlier on. And I thought it summed it up beautifully.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can just find it. And then I'll tell you who sent it. Let me have a look. Sorry about this, guys. This is how many messages I get every day. There we go. Totalitarianism never looks exactly the same as the last one next time around.
Yeah.
And that was sent to us by our dear friend Gerard Batten.
Yeah.
And he's spot on. As always. He's always spot on, Gerard.
Absolutely spot on. No, I mean, the reality is that we have got to absolutely redouble our efforts, focus totally on getting rid of this uni-party monster that's sitting in Parliament. They've got to go. And, we've got different opinions on how that happens. That's fine. That's what democracy is all about. But we've got to make it work. Whatever we do, we've got to make it work.
And I think there's a lot of people out there. By the way, we've got 4,500 people watching. Thank you so much, everyone. Please give us an upvote, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do. And please ignore the croaky voice. I'm recovering from flu. Right. That being said, I think that a lot of people are actually, whilst we're our most frustrated in many respects, and a lot of people are feeling thoroughly pissed off, that I think there's also a sense of relief in that people that thought they were going a bit mad, people that thought, is it just me that's feeling like this? Is it just me that can see what's going on here? Finally, everyone is actually quite relieved because there are now hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people feeling exactly the same way as we've been feeling for a very long time. And we'll get on to poor Peter. I know I spoke about him earlier on. I was a bit emotional earlier on. One of the reasons I felt so emotional is because that could have been me. That could have been any grandfather.
That's what I thought as well, Paul. I was thinking that, that could have been any one of us, grandparents, it's just so wrong, a grandparent dying in prison in his early 60s.
And let me say this as well. Many people, many decent, honest people that have never, ever been anywhere near a prison cell in their life, they're not conditioned for this at that age.
Yeah,
I agree.
He was 61, right?
61. 1 hour in a prison cell for a 61-year-old. Just 1 hour. It's like 5 years to a 20-something-year-old who's been in and out of prison all his life, hardened to it, conditioned to it, doesn't really give a shit.
I totally agree.
1 hour would have been enough for that man. 1 hour.
Do you know what I found most disturbing, right? When you looked at him, right? He was up at the Right Shields, right? But he was up there and he was saying, I'm praying for my children. He wasn't aggressive. He wasn't trying to assault police officers. His hands were clenched together and he says, I'm praying for my children, and that, that to me summed up what he was about. He was there for his kids. He wasn't interested in his own safety or in his own life or in if the police were going to hit him on the head with a baton. He was going, do you know what? I'm doing this for my kids. So Peter is a hero. Let's just get it right. He's not a villain. He's not a thug. He was a hero because he was standing against vicious authoritarian tactics being meted out by Keir Starmer. And he's paid for it with his life. Simple.
I wonder how, I'm asking the question, I wonder how that judge feels tonight. I wonder how the police officers that arrested him feel tonight. I wonder how Keir Starmer feels tonight. my guess is at least a couple of those actually couldn't give a shit.
I'd say all of them. I'd say all of them, Paul, because at the end of the day, if they cared, if you or I had done that, Paul, right, and we were police officers or we were judges, we'd probably resign, right? I mean, I've resigned from jobs before. I didn't like the ethos of the job, right? So I've resigned for jobs because I got into a job and I go, no, this isn't fit with my moral compass. So why can't a judge do that? Why can't a judge say, no, I'm not going to do what Keir Starmer says. This is wrong. That judge knows it's wrong to send a 61-year-old vulnerable man to prison for 2.5 years or 2 years and 8 months. That judge knows that before he passes the sentence. That judge knows that there's a chance that man might not come out of there alive. He knows that. It's evil. Sending people in their late 50s and early 60s to prison for 2 years, like you say, Paul, it's the same as sending a young man there for 10 years. And it's evil. And it's wicked.
A prison space that was probably recently vacated by a possible career criminal that was let out early.
Exactly. I mean, where does this go? I mean, because at the end of the day, surely, you know, look, we're a country that is so big on human rights. We're big on compassion. We're big on, you know, helping people out. You know, our politicians fly across the world at times. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's true, Paul.
Our politicians fly across the world and make appeals when someone is going to be executed in another country for murder. And yet when it comes to a 61-year-old man who apparently suffered from ADHD and had other health problems as well, this is insane.
He's had a heart attack.
This is insane.
He'd had a heart attack, Paul. He had angina.
He was diabetic.
He was diabetic, right? And there's a hint, and I don't want to say this because I don't know, that he did have certain sort of mental health issues, right? You know, I mean, and bless him, he'd made his own sign. He'd made a hand-painted sign. It would have took him hours to make that. There was nothing racist on that. He was talking about the World Health Organization. He was talking about the World Economic Forum. He was talking about the globalists. And let's get it right. That's not conspiracy theory stuff. That's true. There is a World Health Organization which nearly plunged our whole world into disaster during the pandemic. There is a World Economic Forum that wants to control every area of your life, where there's a whole lot of sinister, you know, Bond-like villains going there once a year to decide how they're going to wreck our lives. This is really happening. This isn't made up.
Richard, you know, be careful, because you're getting into the realms of being arrested here.
I know. This is the thing.
This is where we're at.
This is where we're at, talking about. And the thing is, what have these people got to fear? Because at the end of the day, they know that if enough people stand up, that they cannot cope. If enough people start voting against this, is and you know, I'm going to get political a bit here, but you know, that's what I like about Nick Tinconi from UKIP, right? Nick Tinconi just says 5 years, we're voting our way out of this. That's what he just keeps saying. That 5 years time, we're voting our way out of this, and with good vote management, and with the pledge, and with you know, Reform, UKIP, maybe even some Tories if there's any good ones left, we could vote our way out of this, you know. And that's why we need to really, really think, and we need unity. I'm sick of petty, pathetic people who squabble, and they're self-indulgent, and they're worried about themselves. They're worried about what's going on, you know, in their little world, and they're willing to implode the whole movement for the sake of their ego. I'm sick of people like that.
Yeah,
ego. Hasn't this country gone down the pan?
Totally.
You know, with everything that we're all allowing, we vote this in. We voted this in. Well, we didn't, but people voted this in. That's why
we've got to get with the program. We've got to redouble our efforts. And anybody that's trying to disrupt what we're doing, they've got to go. They've got to be out of the movement. They've got to be gone. Because if anyone's trying to disrupt what we're trying to do, they're part of the problem. They're not part.
They're not wanted. Exactly.
Rich, just answer that question, will you?
Sorry, Steve Edwards. Will there be plenty of loos on Saturday?
There will be some toilets. Yes, there will be some toilets. Yeah, we've got some toilets. Listen, if you're using those toilets, treat them with the highest respect, because those toilets that we've purchased or rented for the day cost. You could have rented a Ferrari for the day. What those toilets cost, and believe you me, it's unbelievably expensive. And this is what people don't see. For people to get their toilets at the back of wherever they're going to be, that's cost you know, the team an absolute arm and a leg. You know what I mean? I'm not kidding. You know,
Karen, thank you very much. This evil government and his mates to blame. Yeah, absolutely. The British Patriot, Sue Starmer and Judge Blood on their hands. The wonderful Nina Vanava. Nina, thank you so much. Hi, my lovelies. I will not be able to come Saturday due to ill, is that? But like to donate towards the 26th. Love to you and to our Tommy, and hope the day goes well for you. Nina, God bless you. Thank you so much. It really helps.
Can we put that donation up, Paul, for Tommy?
We certainly can. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It is helptommy.com. Let me just write that in there. Let me just put that in the chat. That's in there. Solaris, it could have been worse, Richard. You could have woke to Starmer.
Oh, like, come on. Come on. You know.
Solaris, you naughty boy. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate
it. You put that chat up there. You didn't have to put that up, mate. You could have said, look, we can't put that one on.
He's paid for it, mate. I've got to read it out, and it's funny.
That says everything I need to know.
Janie Sweeney, well done, our hero Tommy home safe. Is anyone going from Plymouth happy to pay fuel? Don't want to miss one, ill or not. So if there's anyone from the Plymouth area, pop that in the chat for Janie.
There is a lot of people coming on their own this time. I've had many messages off of people. Funny enough, I had a pint with my dad down the pub today, and there's a group of lads there. One of them I've known for years, Lee, his name is. He was sitting there with a group of lads. He came up to me, he said, we're all coming, all of us. Really? There was about maybe 10 or 12 of them. He said, we're all coming, wouldn't miss it for the world. There is a lot of people coming to this event, all good decent lads. People, you know. So fingers crossed.
Well, I think you know what, you know something, if people weren't going before, then it's about bloody time they did.
Well, like I said before, Paul, you can't sit there and go out for a curry around your mate's house, or go out for dinner, or go out for a few drinks and stand at the bar, or stand around your friend's house, or sit down having your dinner or whatever, moaning about the country, if you won't cancel that and come to this event, because this is the only way we get. How else are we going to do anything?
Danny, I think what's just happened this week, and I'm not using this, please don't think I'm using this tragedy to get people to go to the event, but I think after this tragedy, we have to be at the event. You know, we can't, you know, see what's happened to Peter and go, oh, do you know what? We'll go and watch the football.
Yeah.
Lads, I mean, I know a lot of football lads, you love your football, I get all that, right? And I respect that. It's a passion. It's not my thing, you know, but there's a lot of people into it, I get that. But this day, we've got to be remembering the political prisoners. And I'm not about the rioters. I'm not about people that are throwing bricks and that were, you know, burning things and were smashing things up. I'm on about people like Peter that weren't violent. Everyone said he wasn't violent. He was there. He was vocal. He was maybe a little bit aggressive, right? But he was praying.
Do you know what? I didn't even see any from the clips I've seen. You know, I didn't see any aggression.
He wasn't aggressive. You're right. You're right, Paul. That's right. He was praying. He was standing at those police lines praying.
People say, Rich, people say that Tommy comes across as aggressive. He's not aggressive. He's passionate. He's passionate about what he feels. And he's like this all the time because he's frustrated and passionate. That's a big difference to being aggressive, mate.
Exactly.
Can I say this as well? I tell you someone who I want to mention tonight, who I've grown to become very, very fond of. And that is Calvin Roberts.
Oh, he's great. Calvin's great.
Father Calvin.
Yeah.
Do you know what? What a gentleman. I texted him earlier on. He was in bed. And honestly, Calvin Robinson, you know, he got up out of bed, put his clothes on, come and said a prayer online. Said he was honoured to do it. What a lovely, lovely man of God. You know, I mean, a real proper gentleman.
He's the real deal. He's absolutely the real deal. Absolutely the real deal. And you know, the thing about, totally agree. That was fantastic.
People like Calvin are part of the spine of this nation.
Totally.
So don't anyone dare ever mention the word racism to our group, because Calvin Robinson is part and parcel of everything that we do. He is one of our own. You could not get more one of our own than Father Calvin. And
do you know what else, Paul? He's a spiritual guide to the movement. Yeah. I know, and I'm not going to mention names, but I know he's helped people spiritually. Not just one person, but he's helped several people in our movement spiritually in a very, very deep way. I know he has, and we need that, because we're in a battle between good and evil. And let's just get it right. You know.
Do you know what? Do you know what, Richard? Honestly, I tell you something. There's something about Calvin. I was doing the stream this afternoon, and as soon as he came on and I heard his voice, I was shedding a tear.
Yeah,
he just gave me a calmness and a feeling of you're in the presence of something great here. You know.
Yeah.
He's a lovely, lovely man. Lovely man.
And I mean, I think again we go back to it, whether you believe it or not. The culture of our country is Christian. So there's been men like Father Calvin for since probably 200 AD in the UK. Some people say earlier, some people say Christianity came to Britain in the Roman Empire in sort of 70, 80 AD within living memory of Christ. So there's been a battle for the soul of this nation for 2,000 years. And Calvin's in the front line. Calvin's in the front line probably like no other priest, vicar or minister in the country. And he's taken the hits and he's stood for what he believes in. And look, I'm sure Calvin's not perfect. Just because he's a priest doesn't mean he's perfect. But he's standing on his conviction. He's standing on his beliefs. And what more can you ask of a man?
Absolutely. And I'm proud to say that I know him. He's a great guy. 5,500 people watching, guys. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Do you know what? It's. I think the nation breathed a sigh of relief when Tommy got home safely last night.
I did.
And and
that was a proper stressful night. Do you know what? I must look awful today because I had about 3 hours kit last night. At the time I dropped Tommy to where he was going, and I got home. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, we had a little delay, but it was
welcome to the world of the movement. There's no rest for the wicked,
I know, man. Yeah, I certainly haven't. But I was up again at 6 this morning, so I've had about 2.5 hours kit. Yeah.
But, I mean, we all breathed a sigh of relief. I mean, boys, is it now time? Is the nation slowly but surely seeing through this mainstream media bullshit narrative when it comes to Tommy, when it comes to people like Father Calvin, who's been cancelled from the mainstream? Are the people finally waking up and seeing through this? Are they finally working it out for themselves?
I think so. His popularity's rocketed lately. Like I say, yesterday he was in very, very low spirits on the way when we got to the car park of the airport. I think it was probably one of the best feelings he's probably ever had. He said, do you know what he actually said? Isn't this great? I'm going to get to see my kids this week. I mean,
bless him,
fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is the thing that, I think, and again, in my very small sector of doing this, this event, the problems and the pressure and the intensity of the battle between good and evil, and you feel it, and it's the most intense I felt it, since I've been in the movement, and and I think Tommy's in the epicenter of that. He's at the very heart of that. And the pressure he must have been under, for the past few weeks, away from his kid, right? On his own, right? And basically, not being able to have your family around you, because of school commitments and whatever's going on back in UK, must have been absolutely, because what he's like with his kids. I mean, he dotes on his kids. And, so, and then obviously Tommy has PTSD, and he's been really stressed what's going to be coming upon him, because obviously the PTSD was sparked by prison time. So you imagine having your worst fear in the world, facing it and watching the clock tick down, tick, 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 until you possibly go away for a long time. Now, here's the thing though, and this is the thing I think we need to pray for and hope for. There's no reason that Tommy should go to prison. Hugh Edwards.
Was he done
Hugh
wrong?
Edwards. Hugh Edwards
What's
didn't
he
go to
done
prison.
wrong?
He's a paedophile, right? Well, this is the thing. Now, obviously, the contempt thing, he can't. He's broken a high court injunction. Yeah, we know that, right? That doesn't mean he has to go to prison. He gets found guilty. He doesn't have to go to prison. It's up to the judge. And if you were a wise judge, and I would be very surprised if a judge is watching our live stream or anyone that's anywhere near a judge. However,
someone might tell a judge, Rich.
Someone might tell a judge, if community cohesion is an important factor in making any judgments, which I'm sure it is, right? Because let's get it right, you can't separate politics, the community, and everything else from what happens in the legal system. Then a wise judge would say to Tommy, right, you've broken the injunction, you're a very naughty boy, we're not happy. What we're going to do is we're going to give you a suspended sentence, and we're going to either ask you to delete the film from the internet, or we're going to ask you to stop speaking about the film for 2 years or whatever. And they give him a suspended sentence. I mean, at the end of the day, the film's been seen by over 50 million people. There's probably very few more people. Well, who else wants to
watch it? Yeah.
See it. So the reality is that film has been massively viewed. If that was a deal that was offered me, I'd take that deal. There's no shame in taking that, because he's done what he set out to do. Which is
well, the ironic part about it is, if they hadn't have arrested him, that film would have had less than half of them views, if that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Less than half.
The other thing about it is, Paul, we've got to get to the fact about why he put that film out. He didn't put that film out to massage his ego. He put that film out for the kids that were, for Bailey, right? For the other kids that were basically implicated in that case and had their reputations absolutely destroyed.
More families that have had their lives ruined.
Right? So that he put that film out for them, to vindicate them. And I can't remember whether it was Tommy said it or somebody said it, that the lad who was meant to be the bully in the case is now able to walk around his town. He's not getting hassle off anyone. He was getting a lot of hassle. He's not getting hassle off anyone, because everybody's seen the film and they realise that what he was actually trying to do was stick up for friends and family members. He was the opposite of a bully. He was sticking on a bully, right?
Well, it seems now that in this country, if you want to stick up for your loved ones, your family, your children, you're a criminal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There was an appeal that went out from Tommy to Elon Musk, so that he said, could you, in his word, like, promote the video? Could you make it more, give it a shove? And he said, what's wrong with the video? There's nothing wrong with that video at all. Elon Musk replied to that. I don't know whether Elon Musk actually replied to it. Yeah.
Elon said, what's the content of the film?
Yeah.
Elon replied to it, said to him, what's the content? And Tommy dropped him a video and saying what it was. And so who knows? I mean, if Elon starts promoting it, then it's, by the 28th, it's going to maybe have 100 million.
Yeah.
Hazelnut. Sorry, Richard. Let's read one or two of these. Hazelnut, thank you very much. Sure. Vanessa Evans, a minute's silence for Peter and prayer for his family on Saturday will be good. Thousands won't know or what's happened. I think that's a great idea. I hope we can do that at the weekend. Manny Dweck, I want to come, but I can't walk well. Is there an end meeting point where the stage is, as I could wait there? Richard?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So not do the march. Yeah, not do the march, just arrive at the end.
If you can't do the march, get to Parliament Square area for, I suppose, between 1 and 1:30, and then you can go to the stage. You'd be able to go to the stage. If you're disabled, you'd be able to go to the stage. There'll be people there that'll meet you. Not a problem. Obviously, if you can bring a little seat, maybe if you're going to bring a seat to sit down, make it comfortable for yourself. Yeah, that's 100% fine. You can do that.
Thank you so much, man. It'd be lovely to see you. Claire Bess says, "Was the dog okay after Paul?" Actually, he looked a bit shoddy, to be fair.
Well, the owner that got his face licked afterwards, he wasn't one at all.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Yeah, I mean, he got off glowing a bit green.
They moved very quickly, didn't they, after that?
Yeah, moving on. You shouldn't have told that story, Richard, should you, really?
No, I'm never going to live that one down, am I?
No, mate. Oh, dear.
Oh, well, it is what it is. It's out there now. Who cares?
Richard, you got to pull your trousers up, mate.
What?
You got to pull your trousers up. Simple as that.
Or we could always know him as Arse Lick Rick.
Daddy,
sorry.
If you work with a good boxer.
You're breaking up, Rich. I can't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Epic 2000. Don't forget the Free Speech Union are doing a fantastic job. They are indeed. They are supporting some of the protesters. Join and debate. Join and donate. Absolutely. Free Speech Union is indeed doing a fantastic job. Excuse me 1 second now. I've just had a notification. Thank you very much. Yeah, so, I mean, look, really looking forward to the weekend. I think it's more important now than ever. If you don't want to attend for the cause, if you don't want to attend for Tommy, if you don't want to attend for us, if you don't want to attend for your country, attend for Peter.
Yeah. And maybe try and get a couple of your friends to come with you, because, you know, if there was, you know, I don't know, 50,000 single people there, if they could bring a couple of people, that's 150,000, you know, the more the merrier. Yeah. The bigger the numbers, the more impact we'll make.
Do you know what I think would be good, actually? After this, it's too late now, but to get a petition to free the political prisoners, and that would include Tommy, obviously, but get a petition going to free the political prisoners that are being held.
Well, I think that could well be, and we'd have to speak to everyone that's involved. That could maybe be the first job of the pledge.
Yeah.
Of all members of the pledge. And by the way, if you haven't signed the pledge, guys, if you want to see this country free again, if you want to give the people back the power, please do sign the pledge. It is absolutely vital to everything that we are doing. We would really, really appreciate that. The pledge is pivotal to what we're doing. Yeah, I mean, going back to the terrible incident.
Just on the pledge, Paul, just to finish off on that. If you have signed the pledge, do the pledge a favour, do yourself and do the country a favour, share it with 10 people on your friends list. If you sign the pledge, get it onto WhatsApp or onto your email and share it with 10 people, and keep doing that. Keep doing that, because it's so important, because the pledge is doing really, really well, but we want to get it up into the millions. We've got it into the tens of thousands in short order with no paid promotion. It's incredible. But this has got to be something that gets millions of people signed up to it. And then we're going to have a massive, massive impact on the country. And it's not, you know, I'm a member of a political party. It's not about being a political party. Whatever political party you want to join, that's up to you. It's about, and it's free to sign the pledge. You're not signing up to anything that's going to commit to anything. Just get on there and sign.
I mean, look, me and Richard are supporting different political parties right now. Yeah. But we both want the same result. I will say today, and I've got to say it, I'm sorry, but I don't think Richard Tice's tweet was particularly appropriate.
I didn't see it.
And I don't think that Isabel Oakeshot's comments earlier on, I mean, she called him a fool. He wasn't a fool.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't a fool. I know what she meant. I'm not going to slaughter her. What she meant, perhaps she meant he was foolish. Perhaps it was foolish to swear at the police, but he wasn't a fool. In fact, he was a hero, and his grandchildren should be proud of him when they get older.
Well, I mean, Nick Tenconi said he was a hero. Nick Tenconi came out and said he was heroic, you know. So that's you know, that was an, you know, it's just different ways of doing things. But you know, I think he was a hero, and I think the reality is that he must be the last death in custody of a political prisoner.
Whoever thought we'd be saying that? Jack Kelsall, thank you, Jack.
Doesn't bring him back though, does it? Sorry, it doesn't bring him back. No.
Today's Scotland Yard outcome will affect Saudi. I'm not sure that it will. I mean, some people might ask why I'm not talking about that tonight, and the reason I'm not is because, to be honest with you, I don't know enough about the case.
Yeah,
I don't know enough about the case, so it wouldn't be right of me to comment on that. I think there's a lot more to come out. When it does, maybe we'll speak about it if we feel.
Do you know who'd be a good guy to get on about that, Paul? Is Wendell Daniel, Street Mike.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wendell's a good lad. I spent Friday with him. He's a top bloke, total gentleman. Get Wendell on board and have a chat with Wendell about that, because he doesn't normally do interviews this sort of way. He's always doing the street stuff, which is brilliant at. What a guy. But I mean, I think he's been covering that case, I think, so he'd probably be able to help out with that.
Thank you, Lily. Rest in peace, Peter. Absolutely. Let's have a little look through some of the regular chat. Good evening, Paranormal's in the chat there again tonight. Lovely. Jen says, I've never despised the government as much as I despise this government. I think a lot of people are feeling that way.
I don't think you're on your own.
I don't see this government as a cat in hell's chance of lasting more than one term.
Well, the local elections are going to tell an awful lot next year, aren't they? They're going to tell an awful lot. Just give us an indication.
Fuzzbin, thank you so much. To think, the officer that arrested Peter, the judge that dished the sentence out, and the jailer that closed the cell door on Peter, shame will flow down the chain. They all let Peter down. Solaris, can we have a 2-minute silence for Peter on Saturday? I hope we can.
I think we should.
Yeah, absolutely. Robert Loads, let's email our political prisoners.
That's a really good idea.
Email a prisoner.
Do you know what? That could be the difference between life and death for some of these guys. Because I mean, here's the thing, Paul, right? Think about this. A lot of these guys that went to those protests, right? They were going to a peaceful protest. They weren't going for a riot. There was people there with malevolent intent.
There's a difference between rioters and protesters.
Exactly.
We must remember
Peter
that.
Was a peaceful protester, right? End of story. That's what it was. So he was a peaceful protester. There's a big difference between that. Now, there's guys that will have gone to those protests, right? They will have basically been arrested, remanded. They'll be in prison now. Some of them will have pleaded guilty, so they'll be doing long prison sentences because the judge was handing them out like parking tickets. The reality is some of those guys, their marriages will be under stress. Their mortgage won't be getting paid. They'll lost jobs. And if someone's email a prisoner is absolutely vital. It's a lifeline for some of those guys. Like you said earlier, they are totally traumatized by what they've gone through. So get on that. I don't know how you do it if you don't know the people's names, because I was going to try.
That's the problem. You need to know their names.
You need a way in. You need
to know what prison they're in, and you need to know their number as well, or at least their name.
Exactly.
But I mean, look, Richard, you're so right there. I mean, when you talk about, not being able to pay the mortgage, etc. I said this in a video the other day. This is not a simple case of sending someone to jail for a few days.
No.
This is ruining everyone's lives, families' lives, children, destroying families.
And that's why, Paul, that's why the 26th is so important, right? Because the 26th, the protests that happened, obviously they were very quickly organised, very spontaneous, and that's why they went wrong. Our protest has been meticulously organised, right? So it's not going to go wrong. There's a lot of planning gone into this, a lot of effort gone into this, and it's not going to go wrong. So as far as I'm concerned, right, this is our way of standing up to Keir Starmer without going to prison. Yeah. We go to a peaceful protest, and I would like to see London filled from Whitehall right the way up to Victoria Station with people. Now, obviously, you might have a few difficulties in hearing the sound, but I would like to see that whole area completely filled with people.
And let me say, it doesn't matter what side of the political fence you come from, because today they're coming for us, tomorrow they'll be coming for you. Mark my words.
Well, I mean, Extinction Rebellion have found that out. And don't get me wrong, I don't agree with what Extinction Rebellion do, but let's get it right. They have always been peaceful. They've done horrible things. They've defaced property. They've been vandals, but they've never been involved in. They're doing civil disobedience. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with their cause. I don't agree with their methods. Right? But there's people doing 4 and 5 years for some of the stuff that they were doing. Is that fair?
It's too long. It's too long.
Well, this is the thing, Paul. I mean, if we're going to complain about what's happened to Peter, right, we should also say Well, the guy that was in charge of Extinction Rebellion got, I think it was 6 or 8 years or whatever. He's a man in his 50s as well. So I am. If I'm a libertarian, I can't be a selective libertarian. I've got to say, if it's wrong for them, it's wrong for us, and if it's wrong for us, it's wrong for them. And I genuinely believe it. I think these sentences and the way the government's going, it's getting way too authoritarian, and they're locking people up for doing things that are not actually. They're not violent, right?
Well, this is the thing, boys, right? This is the thing, is that they seem to be cracking down, and all the real criminals are walking free and getting out early. And it's just doing my head in. I don't understand. But going back to Saudi, let me just reiterate for anyone that needs telling, if you're planning on coming at the weekend to cause trouble, you are not wanted there. You are not wanted by our group. We don't want troublemakers there at the weekend, and we don't want mask wearers. So please, no masks. We are peaceful, decent, law-abiding citizens. And that's what we're going to show the nation.
If people wear masks, they will be asked to remove their masks.
Remove them
by our security team. You'll be asked to remove your mask. The security team is not there to kick off or cause any troubles. It's there just like it would be in a nightclub or like it would be a music event, to keep everything peaceful and to keep everything calm and keep everything respectful.
We are not the other mob going there calling for genocide with our faces covered up.
Exactly. We're peaceful. It's going to be multicultural. It's going to be multi-ethnic. It's going to be a celebration, even though it's a serious thing, and it's about what this disgusting communist regime is doing. But it's going to be done in a very, very upbeat and positive way. And if you're coming to cause trouble, don't come, because you'll be put out anyway, and the police will take you away anyway. Yeah. We're not interested in that. We're not interested in thuggery.
Steve Edwards, thank you so much, Steve. How many have signed the pledge? I actually have no idea, but it's many, many thousands. Richard, you can give us
tens of thousands. I mean,
tens of thousands, yeah.
Tens of thousands. I'm being vague because I haven't checked, because it runs automatically. It's an automatic.
Lisa, thank you. Alan, thank you so much. Rex, these gatherings must be all over the UK. Literally democracy in broad daylight. Let's have a few in the north. I agree. Air rifles.
I think the thing is, the reason we do London, right? London is the epicenter, right? It's where all the political decisions are made. If you do, and don't get me wrong, I've done demos in Northern Ireland for years. So I will do a demo anywhere. I'm a bit of a demo addict. But the reality is, demos in London with vast numbers of people have a bigger effect than doing them all over the country. That said, right, I also think that there's a massive opportunity for people to do demos all over the country. Why not? The problem that you got is, though, and this is if anyone's going to organize demos, this is what you got to be aware of, right? There are agitators, there are agent provocateurs, there are far-right individuals, and there are dangerous people and unbalanced people that will attach themselves to any demonstration that you do. So this is my advice, as someone that's organised a lot of demos. My advice is, even though you don't have to, you can go and do a flash demo anytime you want without letting the police know, unless there's conditions on the area that you want to do that. However, my advice would be, if you're going to do a demo, let the local police know. Get a police liaison officer, get a security team. If you can get stewards, get stewards. Make sure that you know all the faces that are wrong, and so all the National Front, all the Patriot Alternative, all those scumbag Nazis. Make sure that you keep them out of the way, and by all means organise your own demos, but do it properly and do it professionally, because then you can actually start building a community. You can do it in a very, very safe way, a very respectful way. So, my thing is, go for it. If you want to start doing demos, because you will build a community that way. But be very careful that you know who's coming to your demos, and you know who the wrongs are and who the agitators are.
That's the danger.
Yeah, well, you can very easily mitigate that by, if you're doing a demo, if you're setting up a group to do demonstrations, you write a very, very specific mission statement. You can borrow it from the pledge. And then you link to the pledge, because the pledge will weed out anybody that's a Nazi, a communist, or an Islamist, because they won't be able to sign it, not with integrity. So, there's things you can do to make demonstrations very, very safe and very, very peaceful for everybody that comes. And I would recommend, we've got to keep exercising our right to demonstrate, or we'll lose it.
Air Rifles Range and HFT shooting, thank you. The lefties have put posters up in Manchester saying stop Tommy Robertson on the 26th. For heads up, guys, there may be trouble ahead. Look, we've seen all the posters. Thank you so much for that. We know all about it. I mean, look, the police won't allow any of us to get anywhere near each other. I've seen the trade unions have been sending out, and shame on them, by the way. I mean,
offering to pay for transport and stuff.
Anyone watching this now that belongs to a union,
question that.
You should question what you're belonging to. You really should. Dave Mackay, thank you. Sadly, too many people I know are still scared, or it doesn't yet affect them in the sleepy hollows they live. It's going to soon, David. So you better tell them to get their lazy backsides out of bed.
What's the best thing to do? What's the best thing to do, Paul? Leave it until it's too late, and then start going, oh, we should have done something about that, and then you can't. Or try and do something while we still can.
Christine says, thank you, Christine. If they arrest Tommy, the fallout will be epic. #TTK. Ian Nicholson, thank you, Ian, so much for that. The dog had to go for a 10.
Ban him, Paul. Who is that? Who is that? Ban him.
Ian, you naughty boy. You know I'm suffering with me coffee. Digital Universe, thank you so much. You naughty boy, Ian.
No more dog comments tonight, right? You've got 5 minutes. If you want to do dog comments, you've got 5 minutes to do dog comments, and you've got to spend at least 100 quid on the super chat to do a dog comment, or it ain't going up.
Fiona Davison, thank you so much. Under the most sad circumstances, Sadie looks more important than ever. Looking forward to the 26th. See you there. From a grandma of 12. Love you all. Love you too, Fiona. Thank you so much. Fantastic. And it is all about, this is the thing, isn't it? It is all about the kids.
And what a fantastic day it'll be. The 27th, what a fantastic day.
Yeah.
The 20, you know, even the 20th.
And if we can equal, but no, the 27th of July. What a fantastic day it was.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, yeah. Whoa, no, seriously, that's what I meant, actually. Wasn't it a fantastic day? So if we can equal that, I mean, the numbers were phenomenal, but if we can equal or surpass that, then, you know, it's a great day out for what it's worth.
Do you know what? I'll be honest with you, right? Because of the circumstances, we don't know what the number's going to be. We really don't. But what I'm hearing, it seems to be massive. It seems the opposite.
I'm hearing
and listen, if you're watching this, right, I want you to think about this, right? Our country has literally been taken over by totalitarians, right? 100%. Now, our grandparents and great-grandparents stormed those beaches in Normandy, dropped onto Pegasus Bridge, fought their way up through Sicily and Italy against the other totalitarians, the fascists and the Nazis. And I want to ask every single person, if you look into your own heart and into your own soul, can you honestly say that you're happy to lie on your deathbed, and when your grandkids come to you, and maybe one of them's dressed in a little bit of different attire because of the demographic that's taken over, and they say to you, why has this happened, Granddad? Why has this happened, Daddy? And you say, well, the match was on. I couldn't go because the match was on.
I had to go to me mate's recovery.
We're not asking people to storm the beaches with a machine gun. We're asking people to stand peacefully at a demonstration against this totalitarian, wicked, evil government, against this dictator, Keir Starmer, who has blood on his hands. There's no doubt about it. If he hadn't have pushed for those sentences, because let's get it right, this came from the top. We know it came from the top. If he hadn't have pushed for those severe sentences, we wouldn't be in the position now where we're mourning the passing of Peter Lynch.
Paul, you're on mute, mate.
And on that note, rest in peace, Peter Starmer. God blood on his hands, sand deep. Thank you very much. Look at this one, James. Thank you, Jane. You three gents have been a lifeline to me in these scary times. I prayed with Father Calvin and you, Paul. I shed tears too. Thank you so much, guys.
My wife watched it, Paul, and she would see she you know, she's pretty hard to make cry. I've been trying for 35 years. It's very difficult to do. And but she was saying that she was, you know, there was tears in her eyes when she was watching, you know, you and Father Calvin.
Very emotional. It's very emotional. People might, I mean, that's the third or fourth time I've got emotional on this channel. I'm not an overly emotional person, but when you're presenting a show like this, I can feel the pain of the I'm looking at the comments. I can feel the people's pain. I can imagine what the anger and the hurt that the family's going through, and it's overwhelming at times.
Sometimes this is a bloodline and a lifeline for many people, Paul. We've all been told it. You know, it gives people something to follow, hopefully a little bit of hope, because we're not just sitting down and just talking about it. There's active, you know, marches and protests going on, and, you know, peaceful, although be it, I mean, it is peaceful. But
well, that's part of our job as well, Danny. Part of our job is to keep it peaceful.
Exactly.
We don't want any more Peters.
And the reality is that we've got the answer. We've got the answers. We know what to do. I mean, we actually, when people are saying we don't know what to do, well, we know what to do. We've got a plan. All you got to do is follow it. Pledge, join a good political party, and do the pledge. Because the pledge brings. This is what I think people have kind of misunderstood. The pledge is not a political party. It sits above the political parties, and it brings those political parties together under one ideology. So you could have guys in Reform that have signed the pledge who believe exactly what people in UKIP and the Conservative Party believe. And that's the beauty of this. You're building unity among political parties through the pledge. And I'm a member of UKIP. I'm proud to be a member of UKIP. I'm going to, you know, put as much effort and time as I can with all the other stuff I'm doing into it. Paul's supporting Reform, you know, and I think that's what we've got to do. Whatever we feel called to do, we've got to do it. But the pledge sits above all that because it's an idea as opposed to a party. And that's, you know, we've got a plan. So if anybody wants to know what to do, we know what to do.
Robert Darcy, thank you. Paul, please mention Urban Scoop Tommy petition. Thank you very much. Minnie Mouse, thank you. Lee Sainsbury, thank you. Why is there no vision? The people perish, Proverbs 29:18. What's the vision? What's the end goal? What are we achieving? What will we achieve?
Well, I think we just said that.
Yeah.
We just said it. It's the pledge. It's the political parties. What we've got to do on the right. This is okay. So the vision is to take our country back and get sensible politics in control of our country. And that means centre-right, Christian values, you know, good, straight. I don't mean that in the way that a lot of people mean straight, but good, straight down the line values from political parties that actually care about the people. And I think UKIP Reform and maybe as a rump of the Tory party is what we're looking at there to do it properly.
And Lee, you know, if you look at the pledge, Lee, thank you for that very much. If you look at the pledge, if we get enough people signed up to the pledge, you'll be surprised what we can do and what we can achieve.
Lee, what I would say to Lee is, if you haven't signed the pledge, please go and read it. If you haven't seen it, it's the pledge.org.uk, pledge.org.uk. Go and read it. If you like what you see, sign it by just, you know, giving us your email address and all the rest of the stuff that you do when you sign it. And then you're actually taking part in the battle to take the country back. If you agree with what's in that document.
And your email address will be kept private, right?
Absolutely.
It's not being sold. It's not being sold to marketing firms and stuff like that. So put your email address and don't stress about it.
The pledge is not a grift. You know, at the end of the day, we've actually funded the pledge ourselves, right? And it's to get all the infrastructure and get everything done right is not mega cheap, and it takes time, and we're still developing and so on and so forth.
And there are things happening. There are things happening, Richard, right, that we haven't announced yet. So yeah,
there's a lot happening, and we're going to, you know, after the 26th, 28th, we'll look at, you know, when we're going to make announcements about what's happening. But the pledge is only a little baby at the minute. It's only starting. But it's had a very good start. And,
it's just been born. It's just been born, but it's a big bouncing baby. God wills it. Thank you. Love to you guys. The Trinity of Sadie. Thank you so much. Epic 2000. What's Chris Wickland's latest video on patriotism and Christianity? He mentioned there is a Christian event in Portsmouth on the 2nd of November. I'll have to have a look at that. Thank you. Steve, thank you very much, Steve Cully. Buy yourselves a brew and raise your mug to Peter. Thank you, guys. Love from Barrow in Furness. ADHD Navigator, I'll be there. Mum of 6, Nan of 4, beautiful. The football stadiums should be empty this weekend. No, you are so right.
I agree.
Absolutely. Mark, thank you, Mark. Took me a while to recognise my own middle class liberal values. Thank you to you guys and Tommy for showing me the truth. It's all about data, and you can't deny the maths or the impossibility of integration. Liberty Spot, thank you. I'm truly pulling for you, gentlemen. We have our hands full here in America as well. We need Trump in on November the 5th. Be well, man. We do. Good luck.
We agree with that 100%. I mean, Trump is a massive piece of this jigsaw. And, you know, if you're a praying man, you need to pray that Trump wins, because for the whole free world, it's vital. If those rotten Democrats get in again, we've got a big problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just going through some of the regular chat as well. There are thousands of regular chat messages. Can we call him Keir Stomer, which is a bag full of something? Right, Richard, anything summing up for you tonight?
Well, I think what Lee said in that chat was really important. What's the vision? What's the mission? How do we do it? So I think we've got to just keep going back over the same old thing. You know, it's the pledge. It's whatever political party you want to get involved in. Get involved. I mean, I think this. Do you know what, Paul? I think there's great hope, even though these are very dark days. I think there's great hope with UKIP. I think there's great hope with Reform. I think there's great hope with Ben Habib. I think there's probably some hope in the Conservative Party as well. There's still good people in the Conservative Party. You've still got the Suella Braverman. You've still got a smattering of decent people. So if we can manage to pull all this together under the pledge, we can do something.
And we will. We will be victorious.
It needs a lot of goodwill. And like I say, people that are infighting, people that are backbiting, people that are driven by any other motive other than actually winning what we're trying to do and achieving what we're trying to achieve. Anyone that's sowing division, either stop it or leave the movement. Yeah. Simple as that. You're not welcome.
Let us get on with trying to unite
the UK. Get on with what we're trying to do. It's very draining. It's very draining on those of us that are trying to do something right. You know.
AJ Aldit's got a good point. Thank you, AJ. What about those who have to wear masks due to a medical condition? Are they going to be turned away?
No.
No. You know, look, we all know the difference between people that are wearing masks and wearing masks for a medical reason. You know, if you get a group of lads turn up in their 20s with baseball caps on and masks, that's a lot different to a middle-aged person wearing a proper surgical, you know, common sense will prevail.
Exactly.
P. Bolton, thank you very much for that. No more supers tonight, please, guys. Thank you so much for your support tonight. I really appreciate it. Keeps us going. Danny, final words?
All right. Tommy's back. We needed him, really do need him for the 26th. He's going to be a big part of that. Fingers crossed, everything will be sweet until then, and he'll be there. Hopefully everyone else will make the effort and come out. And just a little quick note on the 28th, when he's going to his court case, anyone that does want to sentence him, any judge, any, you know, that's going to be there at the time, I believe he's not got a jury. So there's the judge, the world's eyes are going to be on you, what you're doing.
Absolutely. Wendy, thank you so much. Well done, Wendy.
You know,
appreciate that.
And this is the thing. People need to keep signing and sharing it, because that's if it goes viral in a really big way. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, the amount we've got has amazed me. But, you know, if everybody that signed it now starts resharing it, you know, in short order, we're going to have 250,000 people sign it. Yeah. You know, and that's
we haven't even started to promote it yet. This is still a very, very soft launch. But if everyone,
we want to make sure all the technology is right and everything's perfect, so that if we do get that massive influx and we get like 1 million people hitting the site in a day, it doesn't fall over. And look, like any technology, from time to time there'll be glitches, there'll be problems. We're not, you know, we're not Microsoft, right? We're basically doing this, you know, out of our own pockets with our own resources. But I think we've done a pretty good professional job. Everything's working as it should be at the minute. We had some teething problems at the very beginning. Everything's working well. And, you know, just get on there, sign it and share it. Yeah.
Look, before we go, I'll tell you what we're going to do, guys, right? There's 5,500 people watching. I would hope that every single person watching this right now has signed the pledge. If you haven't, please do so. If you have, and you're feeling frustrated tonight over the things that have been taking place, your mission tomorrow is to get at least one other person to sign the pledge, please. And if you've got your mobile ready, if you scan that, love your country, United Kingdom, sign the pledge.
Keep it up there, Paul. Just keep it up there.
Leave it there for a minute, mate.
And if you get your mobile phone, get the camera out,
yeah,
and that will take you straight to the pledge where you can sign up.
Boom.
What, yeah, you got it, Richard? Yeah.
Got it, yeah.
It all works.
Yeah, it works fine. I'm doing it.
Open your camera, pop that on there, and you can sign the pledge. And if you haven't got a phone on your camera, just go to the website, www.thepledge.org.uk, and you can say that you are doing your bit to fight back and fight the tyranny, and we will see you all, God willing, on Saturday. Richard, do you want the good news or the bad news?
Are we going to go on about the dog again?
No, I'm feeling a bit, mate. I'm actually picking up. I'm feeling a bit better, Richard, right? But
you sound better tonight than you did on your live earlier. You sounded awful. You sounded awful.
I've been awful, mate. Look, I'm a geezer, right? I've had man flu. What do you expect?
You did well, Paul. I mean, listen, you went above and beyond coming to the airport on Friday, because you were not a well man. And I thought, how am I going to explain to his wife? Well, do you know what it is? He got on the plane with me, and then, you know, the ambulance came, but it was too late, and that was it. You know.
Well, do you know the bit? I'll tell you now, right? I haven't told you this, but the bit where I actually knew that I couldn't get on that plane is that when I went to stand up to get in the queue to get on the plane, I nearly passed out. And that's when I knew that I shouldn't get on that plane.
Well, I was sitting in Benidorm. Your coffees were on the table, so you now owe me €3 for 2 cold coffees that just went to waste, mate.
Oh, mate, let's have a look.
I mean, you know, you had a good adventure as well, Danny. It was all adventurous, yeah.
Yeah, it was great, mate. Yesterday was fantastic with Tommy. He was in really good spirits, and I'll tell you what, I'll see him on top of the world when he walked out of that airport.
Bless him. Last one from Lee Sainsbury, because Lee's come up with some good stuff tonight. Pledge sign, but end goal, what is that? We need a single political party, not 2 or 3. One single party, but it has to happen now. Good versus evil. Right, I'll have my say on that first, and I'm sure that Richard will want to say something as well. This is the thing, Lee. I agree with you. We do need one political party. We need a political party that is prepared to listen to and adhere to and honour the pledge that the people have signed. If we have 1 million, 2 million people that have signed up to the pledge, we can go to the political party of our choice and say, do you want to work with us? Do you want our 2, 3, 4 million votes?
And we can hold them to the manifesto
exactly.
that they will. Well, basically, it doesn't work, does it? Every political party that goes in, the manifesto goes out the window as soon as they get in office.
Well, we will be holding them to account, and this is the thing, Lee. It's about the dog wagging the tail instead of the tail wagging the dog. We want to become, and we should become, the dog again, and the politicians are the bloody tail. We wag the tail, not the other way round. Richard, I'm sure you'll want to elaborate on that.
You said it very eloquently, Paul, but I just want to reinforce that. The pledge sits above the political parties. So the pledge is up here. It's the ideology, it's the idea, which obviously, Lee, you've seen. And then down below, you've got whatever those political parties are. You've got UKIP, you've got Reform, you've got the Conservative Party. None of the rest are probably worth bothering with at all. Those three parties are really what I'm betting my money on. Now, one of two things will happen. Either one of those parties will totally get into the pledge, will magnetically pull thousands and maybe tens or hundreds of thousands of people into their orbit and into membership. So whatever party that is, whichever party actually really gets behind the pledge and really understands the potential, will win the next election. If we keep getting the sign-ups like we're getting at this rate.
And I truly believe that to be true.
Yeah. So the goal is to gain political power for a party that supports the pledge, which default means everybody that signed the pledge has political power, because you can hold those MPs to account. And if they deviate or hesitate from the agenda, then we come down on like a ton of bricks. And that's really what it's all about. It's about holding.
It's a good way, great way of putting it. I mean, Lee, look, this is the thing. How many people sitting here tonight feel, what's the point in voting? We never get what we ask for, etc., etc. Well, this is the thing, Lee. If we've got, for example, 25,000 people in one constituency that have signed the pledge, our vote, the pledges, if that's what you want to call them, will swing that seat.
Exactly, because they're going to get their votes anyway, aren't they? And with the extra lump that we can add to that, there's a seat. And if you can do that in every
and if
seat,
we have to vote tactically to keep the Labour Party away from power, to keep the independent Islamists out of power, then
what we've got now, Paul, you see, what people don't realise is, with the technology we've got, we can look at voter patterns just as laymen. You don't need to be a political scientist. As laymen, we can look at voter patterns. We can look at where there's small majorities, big majorities, and we can work out where to deploy the power of the pledge. So that, and I get what the guy's saying about one political party, but that's not necessarily the case, because if you have parties working together under the orbit of the pledge and they all believe in what the pledge is about, then you might not even need one party. You might be able to do it with several parties, because the danger is with one party is that one party then becomes sort of a bit arrogant and they think that they can run the show and we don't need the pledge anymore because we've got all this power. So even in a way, it might be better having a few smaller parties, as long as they cooperate and they work together. That's the key. It's about cooperation and working together. I think what the pledge can do is bring unity. It's never been done before, and then we can analyze where reform came second in the last in the last general election. How close did they come to unseating whoever the candidate was? And this is going to be about the centre right fighting against the far left. That's what it's about. It's about centrists against the communists and the globalists. And that's what we'll be judging the pedigree of the MPs that we've got at the moment.
And of course, the good news is it's free. We're not charging 25 quid a year membership.
Yeah.
We're not charging a penny a year membership. All it is a free sign up, and hopefully we can do the job.
What I would say, Paul, very important actually, this, everybody that watches these streams, that watches us talking, if you're not a registered voter, get yourself on the electoral roll, okay? Not a sausage roll. Get yourself on the electoral roll and make sure that you register for vote in the next election.
Lee, again, this is the last one of the evening, gents. Forget the other parties. There is 8 to 12 million votes out there, but it has to be a brand new party. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure there's time or room for there's always room for a new party. But I think the pledge can achieve everything that we've just...
Lee, what we need to do, mate, we need to get those 8 million to 12 million voters to actually sign the pledge.
Sign the pledge, yeah.
Yeah, because remember, that's not costing them. They need to sign the pledge and they need to register to vote. That's what we need to do.
That's one of the problems, Lee. Yeah, exactly. Not enough people registered to vote. Yeah. Still far too many people not registered to vote and can't be asked. The next time... The next time it comes to voting, we've all got a job to do. We all have to be campaigners, we all have to be activists, and we all have to be your neighbour's lift to the polling station to vote. Because Labour are in power for one reason and one reason only. Not because the nation wanted them. It's because the nation didn't bother to vote for anyone else.
Yeah.
And that's why.
And we need to get back to that Brexit spirit. You know, when all those people had never voted before, they'd never been involved. Because what's happened is a lot of people, because Brexit was betrayed, and it was betrayed, and it's still being betrayed by those scumbags. And that's why I'm so angry with Keir Starmer and the Uni Party. They're vile, they're traitors. And the reason that people have got voter apathy is, well, we voted for Brexit, we didn't get it. Well, the reality is a lot of people that know their stuff said a referendum's never going to work. Because once the referendum's gone through, the political parties that are against that referendum will use the democratic process to unpick that result. The only thing that will actually work is you electing people in the first past the post system and getting them into Parliament as MPs. That's the only way that we can make change in what's left of this democracy. And believe you me, here's another thing, Paul. When we manage to pull off this masterstroke of political genius and we win an election in 5 years' time, that's when the battle starts, because we've got to deal with the rotten civil service, we've got to deal with all the quangos, we've got to deal with the legal system. We've got a lot of battles to fight once our people get power. And you know, there's a lot, but there's so much at stake. We can't not do it. We've got to do it, you know.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, Danny, thank you so much for being there yesterday for Tommy, and you know, keeping the side up, as it were. Richard, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Please don't forget to subscribe to Richard's new channel. Richard, just give it one last shout out.
Well, Counter Media. It's like going to YouTube and type in Counter Media on YouTube. I don't know if we can get the actual address up there, Paul, can you?
Yeah, let me just pop that on 1 second. So before we go, I've got to get to the bottom of the chat now. There's thousands of messages. I don't even think I can get to the bottom of the chat, Richard.
No, don't worry about it. I mean, it's if you go into YouTube and type in Counter Media, it should come up. It's got a funny little logo with a C in it. But we can put that in. We can put that in later. We need to get that in the ticker tape along the bottom there, Paul, for the next live we do, because
absolutely
only got about 400 subs. If we get up to about 1,000 subs, then you know we can maybe see it start growing. It's, you know, we're going to try and do things a bit different with Counter Media. Make sure it's really good quality content, and it's not me off on rants and things that'll get me demonetized and banned. I can do that on the other channel.
Guys, love to you all. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the well wishes as well. I really appreciate it. I'm a tough old boot, really. I will be there Saturday. Listen, I'll be there. I'll be there. So, love to you all. Thank you so much.
Paul, we doing another live before Saturday?
Yeah, we'll be doing another live before Saturday, and we'll be live. I would imagine we'll be live on Friday night as well.
Yeah.
So see you all soon. Thanks for watching, everyone.
See you soon, guys. Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Have a great Tuesday and take care.